what's up guys, aarava here, and welcome back to another episode of my F1 2019 mod career mode here, driving as Charles Leclerc in his Ferrari for round number 8 today for the French GP. If you guys did miss the previous one at the Canadian Grand Prix, then be sure to go check the one out before you see this one. Quite an action-packed race, and it seems a lot of you guys really loving the action out there. A bit more action in the real-life season so far, unfortunately, between Ferrari, Mercedes, and Red Bull as well, but that's the way things go sometimes with the F1 game here. But yeah, we're here for round number 8, the French GP. It's been a pretty okay circuit for me on the game, but it kind of depends on the conditions and scenarios, if you will. But obviously Canada, we had a major issue in the middle of the race where we had a bit of our front wing broken, so I'm hoping that France can just be a bit of a cleaner race for us in terms of not having an incident like that, and we can actually see where our car is on pure pace, because it was hard to tell really, because I thought initially we had some good pace in the first part of the race at Canada, and then it kind of fell away. So I'm hoping the same doesn't really happen here at France. But we're in qualifying now for a one-shot lap here, and it's actually going pretty okay at the moment. In sector 1 we're P1, but then we go down the back straight and the Mercedes engine kicks in a little bit more. Hamilton's able to come back at us, and I don't have such a good exit off that kind of chicane on the back straight. We're down to P3 now, P4 with a tiny little screen freeze there, and then through the last sector a bit of understeer on the left-hander. That corner's tricky enough as it is, but I just went a little bit too wide and eager on the throttle, maybe lost a bit too much more time, and then again through the last few turns, again losing more time, down to P5. The last corner hit the bump too hard, go wide, and that really compromises my line out of that corner, and so across the line it's only going to be P6, which is pretty disappointing considering this car should have the pace to be right up there. And so much like Canada, we might have a bit more of a fight back going, but again the Ferrari car feeling a little bit odd and not like it used to a few episodes ago. So I don't know what's kind of changed really. But on pole position then again it's going to be Lewis Hamilton, but this time Vettel, my teammate, on second place there. So it's not a front row lockout for Mercedes, so they can be beaten there. Vettel in second ahead of Bottas in third, Gasly P4, Verstappen P5. I'm behind both Red Bulls in P6. Then you've got Carlos Sainz, Raikkonen, Hülkenberg and Romain Grosjean running out the top 10. Magnussen, Sergio Perez next with Dan Ricciardo alongside Lando Norris. Then you've got Lance Stroll, Antonio Giovinazzi sharing row. Then it's all row of Toro Rosso next once again here on this second last row. And then the last row, it's the two Williams cars, Roy Kubica and George Russell, ahead of this very gloomy looking French GP. Right, so it looks like we have a real fight on our hands here at this French GP. My teammate clearly has shown the real pace of the car. Second place there, not too far off. Very, very close, actually, qualifying time to Hamilton's pole time. And it was me that was way off the pace, actually. So we have some work to do. And hopefully in this race, we can show a bit more pace than we did in quali there. It's going to be a two-stop. The Ultras to the two sets of super softs. You can see it's quite very gloomy, but no rain is in sight, it would seem. It's going to actually get sunnier as we go on to the middle part of the Grand Prix. So just full steam ahead and hopefully not having any issues like we had at Montreal last time out here. But from P6 on the grid here as we get going, this very much might be a first part of a recovery drive for us at this Grand Prix. But here we go then. So 5 red lights to the French GP. The lights are out and we're underway. Good reaction time for us compared to Max Verstappen there, who gets bogged down. Even though we get some kind of wheel spin in the second phase of the acceleration, we're still able to glide past him, and Carlos Sainz as well has got past him in that McLaren. It's still Hamilton that leads, Vettel second, Bottas third, Gasly falls behind. So nice kind of train forming behind us. It's the Alfa Romeo car of Raikkonen, I think that is there in the distance. Yeah, Raikkonen has just got ahead and passed Sainz as well. So Verstappen's lost 2-3 places. He's had a horrendous start. And also the other Red Bull Honda of Gasly not looking too fast. We go around the outside, very unorthodox place to make a move, and we don't make it because we need to sail off circuit there. So the classic understeer we were having last episode has come back to bite me a little bit. I'm really hoping the front end can be improved the next few races here for this Ferrari car. Otherwise, we're going to have issues all the entire season just complaining about understeer as we now dive down the inside of Gasly. To be fair to us, under braking though, the car feels pretty good and nailed compared to the Red Bull. And actually, look at that. Raikkonen's also taken Gasly. So both Red Bulls, they have some sort of major issue. It must be here at the French GP, because Verstappen lost 3 places. Raikkonen sailed past him, and he's still there as we move on to now a bit of a sunnier lap number 3. So what did I say? The sun was definitely going to come out here. And so now we're on the back of Valtteri Bottas with a tiny bit of a screen freeze pushing us wide, and also generally the dirty air as well being quite a big through that corner there. So a little bit worse for wear off the exit of that corner, and we actually have to just watch Bottas then actually get some ridiculous speed, to be fair, because it looked like Bottas was miles away from Vettel, and instead he's actually gone and overtaken him. I nearly steamed into the back of Vettel. So you can see at the moment, all is not well in my world. I'm very distressed in this car. I'm not feeling too comfortable, and it very much is like we left it at Canada. That, I just don't feel at one with the car. I don't know what it is in the last, 3 episodes now it is and counting. Vettel seems to be a lot more comfy in the car than I do, and he seems to be able to get the kind of lap time out of it. Having said that, though, at the end of lap number 3, we are gaining a bit more on Vettel than I actually thought we would be, and we've got a great exit, and he's very slow in a straight line, even with DRS, so maybe he's turned down his engine or has some sort of issue. I'm not too sure, but we sailed past Vettel, actually, so all that talk about actually him doing better is now, oh my god, look at that up ahead. Did you see that? The two Mercedes cars made some contact there. Valtteri Bottas has made a move, so both myself and Bottas made a move around the outside of turn 1, and he did it for the race lead. I did it for P3, and he definitely made a lot more contact there with his teammate than I did there, but yeah, very weird. I was just talking about, you know, ironically, about Vettel getting more lap time out of the car than me around here and qualifying for sure, and then he goes quite slow, so I don't know if he's turned down the engine. I want to say he does, because it definitely looked like he did, because we really closed up on him way too much for him not to be turning down his engine at this phase of the Grand Prix. Maybe saving fuel, of course. On the right hand side you can see I've already burnt a lot of fuel in this race, having only been doing it for 4 laps now, 5 laps as we move on to the next lap of the GP. We're trying to close up on Hamilton again. A lovely little screen freeze sends me wide there, so just gonna have to deal with that right now. It seems to be happening a lot here at the French GP, but here we go now for a move to the inside of Hamilton there. He's had DRS as well, but that Ferrari car is pretty damn quick in a straight line. Makes some contact though on the entry there, so went a little bit too deep with the understeer. Alto kicking in, and now we jostle for position there. Hamilton on the right, myself on the left, and Vettel also might join the party, you know, behind us. So we get past Hamilton up into P2, but look at Sebastian Vettel go down the inside. He's made it. What a move, son. And my teammates made a real good effort there, and it's now a 2-3 for Scuderia Ferrari. Bottas doing a great job in P1 after he overtook his teammate to try and get away a little bit, but now we've got some clean air to try and chase after him. But saying that though, actually you can see the understeer is kicking in for me, and I'm feeling the tyre wear quite a fair bit. My engineers also mentioned, you know, the pit stops are going to come soon. I look at my right hand side indicator, the tyres are pretty damn worn, so I think I'm going to come in on this lap and try and get an undercut on the cars around me, you know. And that also released Vettel, who I think now has picked up the pace again and turned up his engine maybe. So we come into the pit lane now, a little bit too hot under the colour. Oh my god, we nearly slam into the wall on the left hand side there. We break the bollard there, so I hope the FI don't have any issue with me breaking that little foam polystyrene wall bollard thing. But oh my god, that was very close. That was probably one of the worst pit lane entries I've ever had at France. It's a very awkward pit lane. It turns so sharply, and even more so in the game, it's so hard to slow down the car. Double lock-up that was as we entered it. And now I've only just realised we got held up in the pit lane there by Hamilton, and Mercedes have made a quicker pit stop than us, so they jumped us there. So not only was my pit lane entry bad, my pit crew weren't really on it like a car bonnet as I hoped they would. Maybe my pit entry kind of, I don't know, flustered the pit crew of like thinking, is he even going to make it in here or whatnot? I don't know, but for some reason we got jumped there. Very rarely do I ever get jumped by an AI car in the pit lane these days. Most of the time I'm doing the jumping a la like in the F1 Road to Glory series with the Williams car, the very Williams car I've just overtaken there. Robert Kubica down the inside very easily, and so now we go chasing after Hamilton once again. Teammate in the pit lane then, Vettel is in, so like I said, that might have released him, and definitely now he's got a good chance, because I definitely slowed myself down into the pit entry and also getting held up by Hamilton, and so much so that the Red Bull also in that camera shot when we went down the pit lane was very close to me there. But yeah, that could have been a lot worse, to be fair, so I'm not going to complain too badly. That could have been another Canada 2.0 situation of just a split-second moment, and a bit of a front wing came off there. Thankfully, the front wings seem to be quite solid at that point. We make some impact here, but there goes Vettel. He's ahead of us, and it's going to be, nearly 4 wide there between the Mercedes, Toro Rosso, and Ferrari. Hamilton locks up. We go round the outside of Alexander Albon there in the Toro Rosso, just about get him. We're going to go very defensive there. The Toro Rosso seemingly very aggressive in wanting to make a re-overtaking pass, but very close stuff there at turn 1. Vettel, obviously, it's a very awkward pit lane exit as well as entry, and Vettel just came out at the wrong point, was side by side with the Toro Rosso. Hamilton went for the move on the Toro Rosso himself, and I went for the move on him, so it was almost nearly a 4 wide moment, definitely 3 wide into turn 1, and he came out the worst of it with that bad lock-up into the apex there. And now, on lap number 8, we're chasing after Vettel, and we've got another sequence of gaggle cars here ahead of us. A lot of traffic here at France, a lot of traffic, and we make a very nice and smart undercut overtake on Vettel, but then I get hit with a tiny, another screen freeze, surprise, and also the Haas brake checks me somewhat there, and so Vettel's able to get past me. Otherwise, that would have been a supreme undercut, switchback move overtake on Vettel into turn 2, but alas, we're now around the outside of the Rich Energy Haas car of Magnussen, and we're up into P9. Vettel P8 is going to overtake that Toro Rosso of Kvyat with ease, but now I'm going to get a little bit nervous because I'm going to have to overtake Kvyat now on track. In the last 2 episodes, he's not exactly been my #1 fan. We've had a few issues. Monaco, he tried to put me in a wall and a barrier, and then Canada, well, it wasn't really his fault with Canada. He had an engine failure, but he was right ahead of Hamilton, who of course then had to kind of, you know, stop and stop himself hitting the back of Kvyat with that smoking engine, and that inadvertently brake checked me, and ultimately had my front wing off here. But now here we go to the inside using the Ferrari power. We sail past him, and thankfully that is not an issue there. So maybe we buried the hatchet finally there. Third time lucky with Daniel Kvyat, the Russian, in the Toro Rosso. But now we move on to lap number 9. Again, more traffic, but not just me and Vettel, but also Valtteri Bottas here. So maybe the race lead is still in sight for myself and Sebastian, who it seems like our pace is actually getting better and better, I would say, through this Grand Prix, because Vettel was able to jump me and Hamilton with the overcut strategy on the pit stop phase. And now both of us are side by side, and we're not too far off Bottas here as he tries to go around the outside of Lando Norris. We're trying to go around the outside of Vettel here. So Ferrari v Ferrari. Hopefully this is going to be a bit of an easy pass, or just a simple one, because if we fight for too long, we're going to let Bottas go here. But Vettel does stay ahead of me, so for now I have to just kind of stay back here, and it's going to be a big train in Sector 3. And oh my god, we make another mistake there in this Grand Prix. Go a little bit too hot into that corner and lock up on the tyre, and that sends my car straight on there. But it's probably a good thing that I went straight on rather than straight in the back of Vettel there. But another mistake, making a lot of mistakes in this Grand Prix so far, I must admit. And like I said, it's just because really, honestly, I'm not comfortable with this car anymore. Like, it used to be comfy for me. Bahrain, when we won the Grand Prix there, that car was a different car to now. That one I was able to control, play around with, chuck it into corners with confidence. But now this car, just the rear starts to step out, the front end won't kind of bite in. It's very, very odd. And now Vettel makes a move on Norris. We're going to have to follow him through there. Our fellow Brit, obviously my fellow Brit, not Charles Leclerc's fellow Brit, but we made the move there on the McLaren. We're up into P7 now. Vettel P6, and Bottas has already overtaken Lance Stroll in the Racing Point car. But with DRS for both of us, it's kind of a stalemate here at the moment. On lap 11, Vettel goes for a move around the outside again. We follow our teammate through on an overtake there on the outside, just about keep it within the white lines there with another screen freeze and a half for a good measure, and we're up into P6. Vettel and P5. I feel like I've said the word screen freeze every half sentence, but yeah, I don't know what it is. Months on, this game still isn't very optimized for the French GP. But anyways, we move on and just drive through the pain and the freezes as we move into lap 12. And oh, there's a car that's gone off there. He slowed Vettel down. That was nearly a T-bone collision for Vettel. Maybe it's I think that was that Ricciardo, or was it a Haas car? I couldn't quite tell actually with the kind of shadow work there with the sun, the way it comes at turn 1 there. But very weird moment there, and a bit of chaos. And so Vettel narrowly misses maybe a collision there, and he goes very slow to the point where now right all over the back of him once again in this GP. So it very much has been a kind of inter-team battle here between myself and Vettel. This GP is Bottas now. He was initially quite close to us beforehand, but now he's getting through the traffic quite quickly. He's nowhere near us anymore on the minimap or on track ahead of me. But now we make a dodge, a fake to the right, then go to the left, and down the inside we go of Vettel. We've gone very, very wide. That wasn't exactly on purpose, I can't lie. That was just because I went in too hot and I've kind of missed my brake point, just about got it in the end. But we're up into P4, but Vettel might come back as we're down into some lower fuel as well, so we have to watch out for the fuel later on this Grand Prix as well, and that's going to be quite tough because you're on throttle for quite a lot of the time here around France, so that's going to be a bit of an issue maybe, and that's going to come back to bite us. But eventually move on to lap 16. I've saved that fuel actually, to my surprise. We actually had some good pace then compared to Vettel. I was able to get away from him while saving some fuel, and now we're actually closing up on Bottas now with DRS, so the Ferrari really is picking up some more pace here in the back end of this GP, very much unlike the Canadian Grand Prix last episode. So we're closing up on Bottas, but it's now going to be time to make our second pit stop actually of the afternoon. Bottas comes in as well, so we're going to cover him off basically and come in, and this time thankfully no issues under braking. I went way early on the brakes there to make sure I made that pit stop time, that line, and now we're in for another set of super soft tyres there. No hold up this time, although you can see there my team were a little bit delayed, so that's a little bit frustrating. I was closer to Bottas than this as we go down the pit lane there, so I don't know what it was. My teammate just hesitant to let me go as there was no car behind me, so that's a little bit frustrating. But now we get out on the same lap as Bottas. The only man who can do something different is Vettel, who stayed out for an overcut. And saying that, actually, I don't know where Hamilton's gone. Obviously, we overtook him a lot earlier in the Grand Prix, after he initially got us back in the pit lane, but now I don't actually know where he's gone. Like, I don't actually know if something happened to him, if he got caught up in really bad traffic, but I've not even seen him on the minimap anywhere to be seen. But now we move on to lap 19. Vettel's made his pit stop already at this point. He's behind us. Bottas is back in the lead. I'm second place, but we've just set the fast lap of the Grand Prix there, so if that stays put, I'll get one extra point. for the fast lap, remember, by the end of this race, but now is the time. We've been pushing on that lap, and now this lap number 19, may be the lap I try and make a move for the race lead for the very first time in this Grand Prix as we close up on Bottas there. The car is finally feeling a little bit more hooked up in Sector 1. So here we go, nice and patient on the throttle, slam it down now as we get the downforce working up into overtake mode on ERS there. Standard mixture because we don't have too much fuel to use, but the DRS should be enough there as we gain, as Bottas punches a hole in the air for us to use, and now we're on around the outside on the left hand side, and we're up into first place of the French Grand Prix for the first time this entire afternoon there. And can we keep it is another question really, because we go to low ERS there because I need to save the ERS for the next lap hopefully, and Bottas is going to close up a little bit. He's gaining enough but not quite enough to make a move on the outside there, and we stay put in first. But as we move through to the last corner of another lap, Bottas comes back at us now on the right hand side. DRS open for him and he's sailed past us there. Mercedes engine working well on lap 21, and I've only just clocked he's actually on the soft tyre. Myself and Vettel are on a softer compound than Bottas is, so that's a tactical decision by Mercedes. Maybe they think that our tyre's going to wear out too much by the end of this thing. Maybe they're right, maybe they're wrong. We won't know until we hit lap 26 and 27, but for now, Bottas is back past us, but we should have enough pace in the straight line to once again re-overtake him as we go into the back straight, and crucially this time, Vettel, look at him, he's so much closer to us than he was before, so this might be a double pass, you know. If Vettel can get a double toe and plays his cards right, he could overtake Bottas as well, and you saw there on that camera shot, Vettel's actually closer to me than I am to Bottas, and we're still gaining on the fin, and here we go now, move around the outside there, and it's going to be a diving dart to the apex to try and close that off, and Vettel up top on the left-hand side, you can see Vettel is indicated to be in second place. There he is, we look behind us for the first time, and he is. It's now 1-2 for Scuderia Ferrari there, so how about that? Fortunes have very much changed from the Canadian GP, but now we've got a virtual safety on lap 23. Bottas has actually re-overtaken Vettel. We missed the overtake, unfortunately. Didn't actually know where Bottas overtook Vettel. I'm guessing at some point, maybe on the back straight, actually, thinking about that. But now the virtual safety car's out, so it gives us a chance, though, to save some fuel and ERS. It's just about on the restart, making sure we try and nail the power down there. And when the virtual safety car is going to end is also going to be another question. It's going to end quite soon, actually, so it might just end as we enter the corner at the end of this back straight here. There we go, yeah, it's all green, and we're back racing again. And actually need to kind of pay attention a little bit more. We rampantly put up the ERS to hot lap mode and standard mixture there, but our tyres have cooled down a little bit, and we have a bit of oversteer moment, and Bottas is closing up. Even with hot lap mode engaged, Bottas might have a good chance around the outside. Going to lift off a little bit to leave him some room on the outside. He's got the move done. Perhaps we come back at him though. A little bit of contact made with Valtteri though. We're still on the inside. It's so close there. He probably brushed our rear left tyre, and he's still got his elbows out. We made some contact because the hand of anger goes out for us in the cockpit. Now Vettel has sent one down the inside. Vettel's tapped us. He's made contact with us, and Vettel's now overtaken us. That was very, very aggressive from our teammate there. Definitely made some contact. Felt that on the force feedback on my wheel. So Vettel with a love tap to overtake me, and so now the red mist is sort of descended as I dive one down the inside of Vettel. This is now becoming a little bit personal between myself and my teammate here. I'm not having that. I'm not having him pushing me around and overtake me like that. You know, against Bottas, fair play, but teammate v teammate, that's not on. That was a little bit too dirty for him, so we go down the inside. Big dive there, lock up on the front left, leaving the room. No contact made here with Vettel, and he brake checks us a little bit on the exit of turn 2, so this is becoming a real great out-and-out battle between us two, and unfortunately, I know I can already see the comments now. Why am I fighting Vettel so much? Because Bottas has just got away from us, but you know, I can't let that happen. You know, the way Vettel overtook me, I need to come back at him very aggressively, and so here we go now, round the outside, but a little bit too deep there. Lock up on the front left. Vettel's still there on the outside. Somehow he's got a nose in there, and he's going to have the slipstream off that corner as well. He's so good on the exit. Bottas, meanwhile, all the time is getting away now, and we're still just about side by side as we go through to the next full flat out right-hander, and Vettel has managed to sail past us. We're going to dive down the inside. It's a big contact moment there on the front left tyre. We've pushed past Vettel there, and we've just about drifted through that right-hander to make the pass there. That was very aggressive, I'll admit, but it's a tick-for-tack situation there. Vettel love-tapped me on that next left-hander there to get past me initially, so we've done it back to him on the right-hand side, but this is getting a little bit too frosty maybe, and so I'm pretty sure Binotto on the pit wall is going to be very frustrated what he's seeing from us two Ferrari cars, but you know what, it's a sense of pride here. You know, who's the #1 man in the team here? We haven't seen a fight like this in real life from the two Ferrari cars, but you can kind of feel underneath this bubbling away, the tension's building, and so in the game, it's pretty much happening for real on track here. As now Vettel comes back at us again, and he's tapped us again. Vettel just can't stop making contact with us now as he tries to overtake us for P2 as we move on to the last lap of the Grand Prix. It's so overcast now. I think it's even starting to rain a little bit now as we go on towards turn 1 though. Vettel will try and make a move on the outside of turn 1, go defensive, but to be honest, I think we could actually let Vettel pass on purpose here in sector 1 and try and get the DRS back to re-overtake him. For now, we stay ahead of Vettel there, but he's got some mega pace now. He's definitely turned up his engine to maximum now as he gets such a good exit off that corner. But we let off on purpose. We're going to be nice and easy, just slot in behind because we're going to get the DRS back on him there. So a bit of a wily old fox move to try and re-overtake him. But the rain, I think it definitely is coming down here. You know, you can't see it on this camera shot on the off-board camera. But if we go back to the onboard soon enough, I think you will be able to see a bit of spray on the chassis front. But here we go now. DRS will be open for us. We're going to gain and gain on Vettel, making a move here to the inside on the last lap of the Grand Prix for P2 or P3. This will be lock up on the front left, make a bit more contact with Vettel, and it's getting still frosty and frosty by the minute. And you can see the grip is also lacking there. The rain is coming down. You can see that just under the halo, the spray is coming down the chassis front, and Vettel's actually stayed ahead of us. He's managed to defend that position, so the DRS tactic has not worked out for me. And at the same time, I'm on lean mixture for the fuel, but Vettel goes a bit deep. He's made a mistake. He's gone wide. He's gone deep in the rain. We're down the inside, but Vettel's still there. We try to squeeze him out, but he comes back at us there. He's going to go wide again, and he's lost the rear end. We go to the inside now for the switchback move, and we make a little bit of contact with his rear left tire, and we're still neck and neck. This is an absolutely amazing battle on the last lap of the Grand Prix. More contact made with his side pod there. It's just absolute carnage, and on the end, on the curb, we lose the back end. Oh no! We made a mistake, a huge mistake. We got power on the curb, and the rear end stepped out. We've made a mistake there at the end, and Vettel has got P2, P3, but to be honest, to be fair, guys, I can't even lie. That was such a fun last lap. I don't even care. That was such a fun battle with Sebastian Vettel. That was crazy.
That's it for another Grand Prix and a fantastic win for Mercedes. And Anthony Davidson, give me your thoughts. How did they accomplish this result?
Well, I'd say it's just raw pace, plain and simple. I mean, we could sit here and talk about strategy all day, the overtaking, looking after the tyres, but at the end of it all, if you want to win, you need a package that's got the speed over everyone else, and that's exactly what they had today.
Well, that was a thoroughly crazy and enjoyable French GP. Maybe not results-wise for us, but yeah, what a last lap there. Valtteri Bottas then, the man on fire and form at the moment in this career mode, gets a second win in a row there from Canada to win the French GP there. Hamilton all the way down in 10th place after initially being way up there, so I don't know what went on with him. He must have hit traffic and some incidents maybe, but down in P10 there. So for the championship, that'll be a big swing towards us, and also, you know, kind of in the opposite direction for Hamilton's sake. But yeah, Vettel in second, myself in third, with the fast lap of the Grand Prix though, adding 1 point on, so not 15 but 16 points for us at the end of this episode. Perez with a massive P4 for Racing Point there, mega job, and Giovinazzi gets on the board in a mega way for the first time as well this season with P5 in Alfa Romeo Racing car. To double points finish for Alfa Romeo Racing, with Raikkonen in P9 there after initially being way up there in the first stint. Verstappen recovers to P6 after a very odd Grand Prix for Red Bull where they just didn't seem to have any pace. Gasly actually DNF'd with an issue. Sainz in P7, Lance Stroll in P8 then. So for the Drivers' Championship then, we are still in the lead. We were in the lead by 1 point, but now we've got a bit of a cushion now to now my teammate who's taken second place, Vettel in second place. Not only like 9 points in it between myself and Vettel. Hamilton then down to third. Bottas is now in the frame, and he's very close to Hamilton. So it's slowly but surely becoming almost a four-way fight now between both us Ferrari cars and the Mercedes there, with Verstappen P5, Raikkonen P6, Gasly's P7. So both Red Bulls have swapped positions in the championship standing order, and then Sergio Perez catapults himself up into P9 ahead of Dan Ricciardo and Carlos Sainz. Ricciardo somehow still in the top 11 I should say, you know, having only one good result from the Australian Grand Prix, but still somehow doing the job of being there. And the constructors, Ferrari still lead the way. We actually gained some points on Mercedes this time round, and Alfa Romeo Racing now are up into P4, best of the rest, ahead of Haas, and Racing Point get ahead of Renault to get into P7. But guys, if you did enjoy that episode, be sure to smash that like button. Let me know what you thought in the comments below. If you're new around here, subscribe for weekly full-on content. I've been aarava. Hope you enjoyed today. I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye.